Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports and 3Chi. It's Robbie and Clem. We are back, just the duo this week. Kevin will be back next week. I assume maybe the week after. I don't know. He'll be back at some point. I assure you, Kevin will be back in the basement. Clem, it has been another week of what ifs from Marvel, another week of crazy nerd news coming out left, right, center. We got Star Wars Visions, which dropped. I haven't watched it yet. I know Ken Jack did. He did a good write up on it, and he sent me like, here are the 4 episodes that you, a non-anime fan, will be interested in. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Ken Jack. And how have you been?
Doing good, doing good. Shout out Ken Jack. If anyone who's Star Wars fan, anime fan, a little bit of both or neither, check it out on Barstool on the blog. And I mean, right in his wheelhouse. Like that was just a
Yeah,
fucking lob. That's the Dwayne Wade to LeBron James thing right there. So check that out. Doing good, busy week. Like you said, what if this happens to me very rarely is where I am a day behind mentally. So for this week and only this week so far, today's Thursday we're recording. I think it's Wednesday. Yesterday on Wednesday, I thought it was Tuesday. That's awesome when that happens because then you're just that much closer to the weekend.
true.
Almost always it's like it's a Monday, but I think it's Tuesday, and then like you realize you just get crushed. There's nothing worse than when it's a Thursday, you think it's a Friday, because then you're like, oh, I thought I was like hours away from the weekend. So I'm feeling good right now. I'm kind of I'm living in the future right now. So everything is all right. We're gonna talk some what ifs. I didn't realize I was like, all right, we're going to record today. I was like, wait, I still haven't watched the episode because yesterday I thought it was Tuesday all day. So again, shout out to the people on Twitter. And granted, like, what if you're not really spoiling much? It's a one-off episode of a series that doesn't have long-term ramifications. Nonetheless, though, I'm not getting anything spoiled in my mentions. I'm not getting anything spoiled even on the timeline. So very happy with the way the internet is kind of worked. This is going to be a problem, though. I think down the road, once we get another big Disney Plus series, they keep these Wednesday releases. Those spoilers are going to start flying sooner or later when there's
Yeah,
another Baby Yoda moment, to borrow from the Star Wars world that comes into the MCU. That's going to be our ultimate test. So we haven't gone over this really on the pod. I still think like 48 hours. I think Friday we should be allowed to start talking about
I
what happened
agree.
on Wednesday because we like Monday at that point, even blogging it, it feels kind of outdated when you have the thing right around the corner. You have another episode coming in 48 hours. So
And I understand people say, I can't watch if I have kids, this, that, the next thing. It's on your phone at this point. Like, it's 30
yeah,
minutes, it's on your phone. Watch it on your bathroom breaks at work. Take 3 10-minute bathroom breaks. Say you got a stomach ache and go watch it if you care that much, where 48 hours later, you're like, I can't believe you spoiled it. I really think they have made it as accessible and easy as possible to watch. And What If isn't going to be the only thing we're talking about this week because Clem, you finally saw Shang-Chi. So we're going to break that down as well. We'll start with What If and then get into Shang-Chi. I think that should be the main event this week because
mm-hmm.
it is, a Marvel movie. But just spoiler free thoughts. You liked it, correct? You texted me, confirmed good, right?
Confirmed good, confirmed like it, confirmed suitable for a 7-year-old daughter, which is
That's what
very
I was
good
going to
to
ask
know.
you. I was going to say, how did Sienna handle it?
Yep, she loved it. She actually said at the end, she goes, I think I'm the only person in my class who's seen this movie, which both made me the cool dad, and then at least in her mind, made her the cool kid for a little
Of
bit,
course.
right?
She is the cool kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. She's the one seeing the Marvel movies.
not even a little bit scary. She told me, even though I think there were a few times she kind of snuggled up on me. I like to think that's just because I'm her dad and she loves me.
So the only thing I was worried about is the end, the little creatures that come out of that door thing. That's the only thing that I was like, geez, that could be the only thing that gets her. But did I was I right on my prediction that the new creature, Morris from this, would be one of your favorites?
My notes from it, which I wrote in an empty movie theater again, just Morris with about 10 exclamation points. And I was like, Bob absolutely crushed it with that one. And I think if you do the scary parts of the movie at the end of the movie after they've been warmed up, like that was the thing about the Black Widow thing too. It was like, oh shit, it's terrifying, way too real. And it was like in the first 10 minutes of the
It's the
movie.
opening credits,
Yeah,
yeah.
by that point, you're dialed up. You know that there are superheroes that can take care of these evil beasts. And honestly, I think I was more scared of them than she was because she didn't know what that life was being sucked out of their body, the souls being snatched. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's out of a nightmare right there. So thumbs up all around. And I said, we'll do a spoiler free
Hmm.
review of all right. We'll save Shang-Chi talk for the end, right? So we'll wait on that. But we're gonna do we'll do a little recap review and our final thoughts on the entire thing. But thumbs up all around. Anyone who hasn't seen it, very good, different, like obviously much different than your typical Marvel superhero movie. I didn't know how I was going to feel going in, like Bob said, and it's different, but they just nail it. Like they can go like with these different kind of genres. They always make it work. So like I'm 100% like confident that Doctor Strange 2 being a horror movie is still going to be a very good horror movie. This is like a kung fu kind of
Yeah.
movie. You get that the little Jason Bourne involved and all that kind of stuff, and they fucking nailed it. So thumbs up all around. Old, young, Bob right in the middle. Everyone's happy right now.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that because as I mentioned right before we started recording, I saw it at a screener like a few weeks before the movie even came out. So it's been a month that I've seen it, and I haven't been able to talk about it with Clem. So I've been like itching at it. Let's talk about What If first. It was episode 7 this week. It was what was the actual official title of this week? Do you have it in front of you? It was like What If Thor was an only child, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it was What If Thor Was an Only Child.
So this week is Odin returning Loki to his original parents, the Frost Giants, or his original home in the Frost Giants. He actually goes back to his Frost Giant form, and we get to see him like that, which has been a thing online for so long. Like, why wouldn't Loki turn back into his Frost Giant form if this happened or whatever? So seeing Loki as the Frost Giant was cool this week, and it winds up being, I don't know, a kind of a bad turn of events for Thor. I mean, good in the end because like it is a happy story, happy go lucky. He winds up with Jane, but he's kind of the god of mischief himself. He just causes a bunch of chaos. He's like an entitled prince. The voice acting this week, superb. Everyone. We got more Howard the Duck. We got more Darcy. We got more like Thor, Chris Evans, literally Natalie Portman in it this week. I'll say this: pre Taika Waititi Thor just doesn't do it for me. I don't know what it is. And this is the most Taika you could make that Thor with the party boy atmosphere, and you involved Howard the Duck in the wedding. I didn't love this What If. I was kind of bored.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it with the pre-Taika Thor. And Thor 1 and 2, they've been, criticized, especially Thor 2, but both of them have been criticized up and down by Marvel fans. And even like looking back, you're still like, it doesn't really do much. Thor, pre-Taika Thor, it's Rocky Maivia, right?
Yeah.
He's a little too pure of heart, and he has, I mean, the eyebrows don't do him any favors and all that kind of stuff. But it's just he needs a little bit of dirt in him. You know what I mean? He has a little bit of swagger and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously post Endgame Thor will be very interesting because I think that character is going to take a turn from there as well. But you're right, it just doesn't do it. And I'm very interested to see because now we get Portman back in the mix and seeing her and Darcy and all that kind of stuff. It's like, all right, we get a second chance at redemption here. You don't get that very often with big time blockbuster movie franchises, and we kind of got it here, a little taste of it in What If.
I can't wait to see Thor Love and Thunder, by the way, because all of the like word coming out of that production is just that it's like the wackiest Marvel movie. Taika is like, I can't believe they let me make this. It's crazy. So it's like that's going to be great. And when he goes down to Nevada at this point, which I actually this was clever, I thought. Instead of going down to that little base, he drops down into Vegas and he just starts causing chaos in Vegas. We get some Guardians. There's a ton of cameos in this one, which is something that I did appreciate. It reminded me a little bit of the what if Star-Lord was, or what if T'Challa was Star-Lord, and that was, I think, as of right now, I would put that second only to the Doctor Strange episode. I think that was my second favorite.
I think I'm reversed 1 and 2, but Star Lord's 1, but it's
Yeah.
right there. I think those have been the cream of the crop so far. Where I think this one we could probably throw in the bottom tier with what was the one we did last week, right?
Yeah, Killmonger saving Tony Stark.
I think they probably led with some of their best, which is the way to go with these kind of franchises, just to get us in. And we're still,
and they might be closing with some of their best as well. Like the tease at the end of this episode was pretty cool. Yeah. I'll say that. That I was like,
very cool.
Yeah, it kind of got me back in where I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like even the Watcher was like, wait, what?
When that big baby, which by the way, the Watcher is just a big baby. You called him big baby once. When that big baby couldn't believe what he was seeing, that's when you know we're fucked. The guy's won not only his job, but his literal life is watching, and even he couldn't believe what he was watching. So now it's good then.
We saw the Grandmaster, we saw Korg, and of course we get a lot of Jane Foster and Darcy. They eventually get sucked into all of this as well. Darcy winds up marrying Howard the Duck, and like an Elvis impersonator does the wedding in Vegas. That's some of the wackiest stuff that they've ever done in the MCU, and that was what I was there for.
This is something that is very tricky to deal with. And I actually blogged about this yesterday with Jessica Rabbit because they're changing her look in Disney. If you marry Howard the Duck, that means you're fucking Howard the Duck. And they
Eh,
kind of allude to it in Howard the Duck too.
Yeah.
That's just weird. Can we just say it's weird? Because like Jessica Rabbit, everyone's saying, "Oh, she's dressed too scandalous these days," and it's like, but she's fucking a rabbit. That's the real fucked up parts. That's bestiality. I don't care if they're cartoons. I don't care if Howard the Duck is whatever the hell he was in his movie back in the '80s, whatever kind of thing. That's just weird. I'm sorry. When you're getting
Weird.
married, sealing the deal, we all know how it goes. It's drunk.
Beauty and the Beast, though. That's weird.
That is weird. That is very fucking weird.
You know?
Belle, you're Belle. You're fucking literally beauty, and you're going after just some. All right, we've got off track here. I apologize. Seeing Darcy, it brought back some feelings, and they're not good feelings. Everyone forgets she just kind of like disappeared in WandaVision. I'm gonna put this completely on the COVID related like mayhem. I'm sure the scheduling does, but like Darcy's story in WandaVision made no fucking sense. Where she's like a big part of it, drives away, and then like just disappeared for like an episode where she would have been very important, and then just kind of like tapped out at the end. Or can we just get? Are we gonna just agree in the basement to give? It's like those arguments that'll always come up or those debates. We'll just give the end of WandaVision a little bit of a COVID mulligan, since I feel like though that ending could have been different or better if things hadn't popped up. Maybe there was a little with the M guy who we will not mention. Maybe there were some issues with him and bringing him into the mix, and then fucking over with China. But let's just say that we were all left a little unsatisfied, and I kind of associate Darcy with that until she's brought back again and kind of makes good on the promise that I think we all had for her.
I did see someone bring up the fact that Ralph Boner had headshots in his room, and maybe he wants to get cast in Rogers the musical. Could you imagine if he shows up in Rogers the musical as an actor?
Right in Jersey, yeah, that would be fucking okay.
That'd be a good connection.
Well, here we go, ruining the shows for ourselves again before the movies, before they even come out. Yeah, the shows. I guess that's Hawkeye. I love that.
I know the creator of Hawkeye's like, fuck, we didn't fucking know they had headshots. We don't know who the fuck Ralph Boner was.
When I saw the title of this episode and I saw like, what if Thor was an only child, and I immediately thought, what if? Because like I was like, holy shit, I have this scenario in my house. Sienna is our Thor and AJ is our Loki. And I'm like, if she did have AJ in her life, they're actually at the point now where they're getting good. They're playing video games together, which is so A, adorable, and B, awesome, because it just like you can just put them away for an hour. You don't have to worry about anyone getting hurt as you just stare at a TV. But I'm like, holy shit. And then I'm thinking, a couple of guys here, siblings who had a big part of our life. What if Bob Fox is an only child? What if Clem is an only child? I'm the oldest. You're the youngest. And I feel like our personalities, our lives are 1,000% different because of that.
So different. I mean, like people that know me and know my brother are like, you are your brother. I think I would be almost like Thor, not like entitled, but I think it would just be mischief. I think I would go off the rails. I think it would be like, who is that guy? You wouldn't even know who he was.
I think I would have just been even more of like a hermit than I am now. Like without like, and again, the oldest, I kind of probably my siblings' lives would probably be better if they were only children. I'll say that. But I'm like, what?
Seemed like Loki's life in this episode was better as well. Yes. Seemed like he was just like more well adjusted.
He was the captain of the football team, but it wasn't even like he wasn't even the captain of the football team. He was captain of like the debate club right there.
Yeah, he was intellectual. Yeah,
exactly. So that I think everyone wins in that scenario, which is kind of a fucked up thought. But I would love to hear, the listeners, if you either on the YouTube, the comments, or tweet at us, like, is your life?
If you're in there, like the video that way.
Like, subscribe, guys, subscribe, please. I mean,
please.
We're buddies. We're all pals in the basement. Please. How are you just not going to click the button?
I see the stats every week. 48% of the people that watch this aren't subscribed.
What's going on?
Who are you people?
I saw a guy who put that in his video, and I think it was like 1% of the people who don't, it was even crazier. It was like 1% of the people who watch this subscribe. And I subscribe to the guy. I've seen 2 of his videos my whole life as a football guy. And I'm like, I got it. That's just fucked up. That's just not right. So come on, we're all friends here in the basement. Hit the subscribe button. But I want to know, would your life be better or worse if you were an only child, or for the only children, based on what your friends and different family members across your family? How would it change if you had siblings? You know what I mean? Because My brother-in-law, love the guy, is an only child. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, man. That shit is just tough. And I know we're gonna offend some of the only children out there, but I think a lot of only children, they go into like, if they want to have kids, I think they always try to have more than one, because I do think that is a weird existence. I just think
Yeah.
it's different.
You
I
get
mean,
spoiled with presents, but then all the other days, it's like, who you playing with?
yeah, exactly. Or I mean, or you had an asshole brother or sister. You're like, my
True.
life would have been so much better. That guy sucked.
True.
You know what?
Dane Cook, probably like I would have rather been an only child. His brother robbed him all his money.
I like that. I'm going to make a pledge right now. Anyone who subscribes to the YouTube, you send us a screenshot of you subscribing, and you're an only child. Rob and I are your honorary brothers.
Fact.
We're YouTube
We're
brothers
bros.
and sisters. We're bros now. So if you guys need some brothers, click subscribe, shoot us the screenshot, and we're family now. That's how it works. I think you can just say that.
That's legally binding. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, another thought I had. How good does Odin sleep look?
Oh yeah.
This might be like, we're at the point now where AJ wakes up at around 2 a.m. Sienna wakes up around 4 a.m, and they all crawl into our bed every single night. So I haven't had a legitimately even below average sleep. I'm just bad or worse. Junk sleep, I believe they say, mattress. No free ads, but I believe they say junk sleep. I live on junk sleep now. And I was like, fuck, I would give, if I could have any superpower in the world, it would just be a night of Odin sleep. That looks
well,
so
I just
good.
rewatched Guardians 2, and I was thinking about that with Nebula, how she puts Ego to sleep every night. Like, that's her original purpose. I'm like, could you imagine having a Nebula like just right next to you when you're like, all right,
Mantis.
I'm ready for bed. Yeah, Mantis. And she just boop. You're asleep.
I mean, you can make a case that Mantis is like the most eligible bachelorette in the entire MCU just for having that superpower, right?
Not to
There's
Drax.
some other...
Drax is insistent that she is horrific looking and disgusting, but maybe for everyone else.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's probably some freaky shit she could do with that power, but just the sleep thing, I'm sold, man. She put down fucking God or whatever you consider Ego and the T-Man. So like the two most powerful beings I've seen on the big screen, and she put them both fucking down. So
but she's got that thing where she touches you, she knows what you're thinking right away. It's be careful with that as a boyfriend, you know?
That's difficult. That's tough. That's
tough. Nick Fury was knocked down and knocked out in the whole Vegas melee. So Captain Marvel was called in to fight Thor. So they fight in the desert. There's stuff getting knocked over all over the place. I think they knocked over the what do they call it? Stonehenge?
Yeah, Stonehenge.
They knocked over Stonehenge. There was at one point in the episode where Thor going to like fix everything that he messed up before pushed the Leaning Tower of Pisa back into place. I thought that was a nice little, like, those are the what if nods that I want. Those are the what if little history things that I liked. We kind of wanted more of those in Loki, really, like the little history things where you're like, oh wait, could you imagine if they would have done something where Loki got knocked into the Tower of Pisa so many years ago, and that's why it's leading. I don't know, something like that.
That's some cool, and I think that would itch Kevin's, like, that would give Kevin that nice little history itch and stuff like that he had talked about. Like, that's another thing we kind of talked about with Hulk, but being able to see Captain Marvel just do some crazy shit with her powers and not being nerfed because it's important, because you can't just like make a whole movie about this and it's just Captain Marvel can just do everything with the snap of her fingers. And I think I had read that there's a Superman where he like fixes the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's a little like, it could be a nod to that as well. That scene, this gave me, first of all, shout out Maria Taylor, my girl Shabatsky, How I Met Your Mother, one of my favorite shows it's basically the sitcom version of Game of Thrones for me. Loved it, was in on it, and then the last season has completely killed the rewatchability for me.
You've been scorned too many times. You need a good final season from one of your shows.
I know. I just need them to. That's why like the Russo brothers can never do any wrong in my mind, because they stuck the landing with such a harder thing to do with all these different movies by all these different directors and all these different characters and the most ambitious crossover of our lifetime, and they still fucking made it land. So I think that's why I have such a love for them. But seeing that hotel room. And Bob, I know you're not a big partier, and I'm not like some crazy party guy. I'm not going to act like, Glenny Balls or anything, but I've had a few in my day, and just seeing like that scene when you're like just exhausted, you had yourself a night, everyone is just feeling like crap from all the stuff they drank the night before. And just like, I got such anxiety from that. It was a little bit of Hangover vibes from the movie, The Hangover, the first Hangover. And this kind of brings me to another point I had. today I was listening. We were playing Fortnite with the kids, and Eco Eco came on, the song when he goes into be the Rain Man, basically.
Yeah,
I looked up the soundtrack to The Hangover. I mean, I forgot just
bangers.
bangers, and
Yeah,
it's they're so important. That song, Eco Eco, In the Air Tonight. You have the Kanye West song.
yeah,
All of them play a big part of the movie. And like honestly, looking back now, that's as big of a reason that movie like everything needed to be perfect for that movie to become like the phenomenon it was. And the soundtrack you can just quite simply not overlook. So I had to put that one out. And there's very few things in life. I'll say favorite things in the world, like favorite times of my life, top five favorite times of my life is the morning after a night out where everyone's still kind of drunk from the night before. You're recapping it. I think they call it bonus time in KFC. Bonus
that's
land.
funny.
I'm in bonus land. I think a caller once said when you're in bonus land and stuff like that. And there is very few things in life that I love. It's like tailgating, bonus land. Looking back now, it's a lot of drinking things, which explains why I don't have that much fun anymore because I can't do any of that stuff as a parent. A lot of fun stuff.
I
So
feel
just
like my
seeing that.
version of that is like walking out of a movie theater after like Endgame or
Yeah,
Infinity War and like talking about like the initial like oh my God and that and oh my God do you remember that we're gonna have to go see it again because that and like that discussion in the movie theater lobby, that's my bonus time.
wow, I think I just came up with something fucking incredible. I don't know how we could do it. Movie theaters need to do something, a place or a forum in the theater where they have everyone then go from the movie and can then break into a scene. Maybe you get some food there, some drinks,
Yeah,
but
like a
because
like a bar, like a little bar in the theater. I think the Chinese theater has something like that, like in California, the famous one on the Sunset Strip. When I went there, we went and there was like a full bar, and we were like, "What's this?" And it's like for people to hang out after the movie. I was like, "Oh,
I can't tell you how many times like I used to do all the sequel trilogies with my brother and his friends, and we would want to talk about it, and we get into like a little huddle, and they'd be like, "Shit!" Like there's people who are going in to see it for the first time. We don't want to
yeah."
spoil anything. Be like Homer from the Simpsons spoiling the Empire Strikes Back, one of the greatest underrated scenes in the history of the universe. But then we would just go in the car. It would be freezing cold because it's in December. Obviously, it's a Star Wars release, and then we'd be like, "Oh," and you're just chatting about everything that happened. You should have it in a place at a bar, like you said. You're talking, and then hey, the table next over, nice little girl. They meet eyes. You guys are both Star Wars fans.
Imagine that we met at the movie theater.
I think we just saved the movie theater industry, and I think we just
Yeah,
made movies even better. It's better than just going on Twitter. Because again, when I went on Twitter after The Last Jedi, I remember being like, I didn't like The Last Jedi, and I don't know how to feel about it. And I just got a bunch of angry replies before the tide started turning back out into my direction. Like that should just be a thing you could just talk about. The wound is fresh, and let's just start spitting some stuff here. So, all right, Bob and
hopefully
Clem save the movie
eventually we're
industry.
doing like a My Mom's Basement movie event where we'll be able to, this is my dream, go see a movie with an audience of My Mom's Basement listeners and then immediately afterwards like set up a table in the front of the theater and just do a podcast about it right there in the theater.
Just rip it fresh. I love it. We get some like questions. We have people
Yeah,
on, all
have
that kind of
people
stuff.
raise their hand like what did you think, boom boom boom, like get people actually talking. That would be so much fun.
We
So if
need
hey, if you're a movie theater listening out there, Alamo Draft House, AMC, Regal Theaters, anyone that's in New York, New Jersey, this area, let's do a My Mom's Basement event. Come on, let's do
we need a Penn hotel and resort to get in the tri-state
it.
area so we could just do this. We do it at Penn. We get some food, some drinks. We go to the Barstool Sportsbook, responsibly bet on some things. We could have some fun here, man. Let's
We
have some
could.
fun. Oh, sorry, just one more note here. When he said telling someone to buzz off is such a
Yeah.
great insult. It's such a great insult. I loved it. I using stuff that's like an older thing that kind of kids are like 80s characters said, like suck an egg. I always love suck an egg. Take a long walk off a short pier. Always works. And when he said, can we just say that in that What If episode, they alluded to a C word insult without saying it? When he's like, you know what I call someone like you?
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
like, he's going to do it. He's going to say the C word, which is a very, very intense thing to feel on a Disney Plus show, a cartoon nonetheless.
That would have been hysterical.
And
That would have been a darker moment than like Spider-Man fading away.
you're a C word. And just like the fucking record scratches.
Everyone like, what? Like Howard the Duck drops his martini.
And then throw in party pooper, which is kind of like
Yeah,
buzz
yeah,
off.
yeah.
It's a great insult. my wife, she heard someone call somebody a fun sponge, which is like one of my new favorite ones, but party pooper is up there too. So I just had to shout that out. Like you know what? I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna try to do an edit where he calls her the C word. I'm gonna save it for myself. If you put it on the internet, you will get like roasted and canceled. But I'm just gonna do it to myself and just laugh at it.
We'll show it at the live show.
There we go.
Frigga contacts Thor, his mom. By the way, Frigga, always a funny name to me. Just
always
like, Frigga. Frigga. Sounds like friggin'. She contacts him, tells him, clean up your mess before I get down to Earth. And he goes around Earth cleaning it up. That's when he pushes the Leaning Tower of Pisa back, and she almost buys it until she sees Mjolnir. Mjolnir is, I mean, it looks like a guy at the end of Mardi Gras.
It's again, anyone who's ever thrown a party at their house when their parents don't know has been there before. You clean up the entire party, and you
There's
leave.
that one corner.
There's the bottle cap. It's not even a bottle. It's not even like a stain of beer. It's just a bottle cap. I actually had a buddy who told me that he had that exact situation happen to him back when he was a kid. Or you have, again, the vodka in the refrigerator that you filled up with water. It exploded because it's fucking water, not alcohol, and all that kind of stuff happened. And nothing gets the people ready to help you clean up a party than the threat of a parent. Like everyone's doing their own thing. You say parents coming, and everyone just sobers up and just goes to work. And you could get like you could clean up the New York City in like 20 minutes flat if they thought like someone's parent was coming. So I absolutely love that Mjolnir was basically the bottle cap. And and it's never good when your mom and your girl are talking behind the scenes to, you know, something you're doing. Like that is fucking the mega powers exploding on your fucking soul right there.
At the end, we see Thor winds up with Jane, and the Watcher's like, and this what if we have a happily ever after? Wait, what? And the portal opens, and we see, I don't know if I should call this like Vision in an Ultron suit, Ultron with Vision's body. It's Ultron and Vision together, and it looks like they have all of the Infinity Stones in their little, I don't know, in the Ultron Iron Man suit. What the fuck?
You know what it is? It's Ultron in his final form that he had said. Vision was named after, he goes, this is my vision. That's why he got the name Vision. I only know that because we did the rewatch of Avengers 2 somewhat recently, Age of Ultron. And I'll tell you, I think by the time this season's over, that will be the biggest oh shit moment. We're going to think of a few different moments. The T-Man drinking his beer with his smile on his face. And we're going to think, you know, this Vision fully fucking infinity'd out. And that was a oh fuck moment where like everything's good, not so fast, my friends. That was a big, and again, when the watcher whose entire life is to watch stuff doesn't even see that shit coming, you know it's fucking awesome. And as a guy who thinks that Ultron could have been better, would love to see him renewed.
Yeah.
And as a clear stand of the Infinity Stones, that was a fucking big oh shit moment. So that might have been for an episode that was very mid, as the kids say. I thought that was
like Midgard.
Oh,
Midgard.
I always forget that Earth is Midgard until until a minute later. Oh, that's right, Earth is Midgard. I think I get Middle Earth and I'm all thrown off in Asgard. So awesome ending. And that is one that I'd love to like. I hope that maybe some Marvel fans, Marvel fans will take these endings of some of these what ifs or some of these branches and kind of just do their own content off of it. You know, I don't know if you could really animate shit. Nick Hamilton's be like, all right, guys, I'm going to go learn animation.
He scanned my face into like a computer system the other day. So he's got a 3D mold of my head and stuff.
Me too. And I was like, where did you get this from, Nick? Did you spend money? Is this like one of those apps you actually spend 99 cents? He goes, dude, it's completely free. That motherfucker. He's our Thor. He's everything to us. I love that guy.
And shout out to Nick's sister for making our new intro. The Ham Fam never misses.
Ham Fam never. What if Nick Hamilton was an only child? Tragedy. It would be a tragedy to this world because the Ham Fam.
Barstool would have a lot less content. Barstool Chicago would have less content.
And I got dibs on his 11-year-old brother as my own personal. Don't worry, Bob. My mom's basement is part of my realm. So the unnamed. I don't even want to know the name of the unnamed brother because it would just feel weird as I'm claiming dibs on an 11-year-old I've never met. But I mean, I've already seen some of the stuff he's doing. Plus, he then has all the stuff from his older siblings. We're ready to cook, baby. We're ready to cook.
Are you ready to talk about Shang-Chi now?
Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's rock and roll.
Hey guys, cutting off the pod to tell everyone about Bare Bottom Clothing. Before you pack on your next trip, check out Bare Bottom Clothing. Their lineup of versatile menswear is perfect for getting it done this summer, fall, winter, whenever. This stuff is the most versatile in the game. I wear it all the time. I've got bare bottom joggers, shorts, tees. I love it all. Go to their website right now for the internet's best deal. You can get two unbelievably soft, lightweight tech tees and a pair of stretch shorts for under $100. And don't get caught with shorts below the knee, especially while the weather's still nice. With their 5.5 and 7-inch inseam styles, Bare Bottom has got your summer covered. Don't give up on the summer yet. Well, not while the weather's still nice. Everything here is built for value, so you're getting the softest and stretchiest clothes in the game for a fraction of what you'd have to spend with the other guys. Their 5-star rated shorts, swim trunks, and tees have gained a cult-like following of thousands of guys who have made Bare Bottom the MVP of their closets. And if you go to barebottomclothing.com right now and use the promo code BASEMENT, you will get free shipping on your first order. That's BEAR bottomclothing.com and use the promo code BASEMENT. All right. As I mentioned, it's been about a month since I've seen it. I've got the Wikipedia page pulled up with the plot summary and stuff so we could kind of go through it like normal. But if I forget things, apologies. I will be seeing the movie again soon. As soon as it comes to streaming or whatever, I can't wait to rewatch this because it was one of those movies where I watched it, got out of the theater, and I said, I want to see more of those characters, especially after the post-credit scene, which I'll say right off the bat, spoilers. Spoilers. We're going to talk all about Shang-Chi. If you're complaining about it at this point, come on. It's been weeks since the movie came out. But as soon as I saw the 10 Rings tease where they're like, there's something ancient here going on, we got Bruce Banner, which I wanted to say like last week or the week before when you were like, I wish we got more Bruce Banner, more Hulk. I was like, oh, we're getting more of them. We definitely are. Interesting seeing him as Bruce Banner and not Smart Hulk. That's kind of big. He's still got the cast on. And we saw Captain Marvel. So seeing Shang-Chi intertwined with the rest of the MCU excites me so much. I thought Simu Liu, I believe that's how you say his name, Simu Liu, he was fantastic as that character. Aquafina was such a good comedic relief character. Wenwu, the villain, his father, what an actor, what a performance he had. The only person I was a little disappointed by was, I think it was the Death Dealer. Is that what they call the Death Dealer?
Yeah.
Just such a cool look and didn't get much out of the Death Dealer and wound up getting killed by the end. I was kind of like, oh, keep him around. Why are you killing him? Maybe someone else will take on that look or whatever. But overall thoughts on Shang-Chi, I would agree with you that it's not like your average Marvel movie. I liked that about it. It doesn't feel like one of those movies where sometimes when directors come out, I think that Denis Villeneuve guy came out and said all Marvel movies are like formulaic. They just keep remaking the same movie. You watch Shang-Chi and you're like, no, that's just not the case for this movie. There's some Jason Bourne aspects like you get in Black Widow, but then one of the opening scenes of this, that fight between Shang-Chi's parents, that quote unquote fight, that's like more of a dance and it's a flowing style. It's unlike anything we've seen in the MCU. The fight on the bus, that is, in my opinion, like a top 10, maybe top 5 action scene we've seen in the MCU. It's crazy the hand-to-hand combat they put into this movie. And it's actually Shang-Chi fighting Creed's opponent, Drago. It's Junior Drago. But yeah, I really loved Shang-Chi. I can't wait to see more from this character and more from this world. I loved them bringing back, what's his face from Iron Man 3? Mandarin. I love them bringing back Mandarin, Ben Kingsley. He was hysterical. The comedy in this movie was so good. When he's talking about Planet of the Apes, and he's like, when I found out that those monkeys weren't really riding horses, they were just acting. Oh my God. So every time he hit one of those, it was funny. Them bringing him back. And it wasn't even a cameo, I would say. Like he was like basically in like the whole movie.
It was that Kingsley crushed it, man. It was, and you kind of like make another bad, one of the worst, one of the what's the worst? What's the word I'm trying to use? One of the weaker movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
And you kind of make it a little better just by a little thing you do in a future movie, right? You're like, oh, he's an act, like just the way they like embraced all that with open arms. I loved it. Big fan of the movie, like you said. And it's funny, you take away that Iron Man reference, you take away the Abomination. You don't have to take away the Abomination thing. You just take away basically the post-credit scene or mid-credit scene, I guess in this case.
Yeah.
By the way, I am a stickler. I say it's a mid-credits and a post-credits. Do not call them the same because if you're talking about one, you should talk about you should be able to easily clarify. Don't say first post-credits, say mid and post. But that's just my like weird stickler brain trying to figure things out. You take those out, and that's not even you wouldn't even know it's a Marvel movie. You know what I'm saying? And it could just be like a supernatural kung fu kind of movie.
Yeah.
And every time I watch a kung fu movie, especially I'm talking things like the way the mom used to fight with like the different things with the elements and the dancing side of things. I'm like, man, I got to get into kung fu movies. Large is like one of those guys that grew up with kung fu, watching it Saturday mornings and stuff like that. And it's like I'm always like, man, I really got to get into it. And it's just one of those things I'm never going to do. It took me 2.5 weeks to see this movie and in 2 hours. You know, I'm not going to be able to just start getting into a whole new genre of stuff. But fuck, man, kung fu is just so goddamn cool. You never hear someone like, kung fu's all right. It's like people get obsessed with kung fu. You talked about all the different characters. Oddly, one of my favorite characters in the whole movie was the mom, and I wish we got like at least one more scene with her.
I agree.
And I was kind of bummed about it all. It was kind of like with in Black Widow, I had the same thoughts about the mom in that movie, but like I just loved her fighting style, that sweet mask she had at the beginning,
fighting
and the
style
hat.
was so damn cool. That opening scene was like with the leaves and the way she was like throwing him against it. Oh, so awesome.
I hope Shang-Chi like incorporates a lot of that kind of style with the rings. And again, I wouldn't blame him if he didn't, because I'd be like, if I had the rings, I would just be using ring fucking power.
By the way, how about this about the rings? Did you know that the ring design, the bracelet design, was specifically for this movie? Had never been like that before. They used to just be legit. He used to wear 10 rings on his fingers and like punch people with them. Kind of lame, to be honest. No
Yep.
offense to longtime Shang-Chi comic book fans, if there's any listening to this. That's kind of lame to me. Like, oh, let me put my rings on. Let me put my pinky ring on before I hit you. The rings in this, badass. Like, this is like a cool Marvel weapon. When I look at Marvel weapons, like, I'm not throwing this in the realm of Mjolnir and the shield and stuff, but like it's pretty fucking cool. It's pretty powerful. They're gonna build it up to that level eventually. There's more to it because in the mid credit scene, they say that there's an ancient thing emanating from them or whatever. We don't know what that's about. So like I thought the rings were so well handled. The way they showed the father having them, the way they fought over them at the end, the way they lit up like the certain colors for the certain characters. Rings were badass.
I would love to know who, and that's one of the things I love about the MCU is they'll take something from the comics and like, all right, we can make this a little cooler by doing this, you know, and it's not a huge upgrade. It doesn't completely change the source material at its core. And that is the example of one of them. I wonder if it's like our boy, the Fog Man, who's like, hey,
I think it was this guy, Andy Park, who follows me on Twitter, and I've mentioned him. So maybe we get him on the show.
I'm giving Andy Park the Basement Boy of the Week if that's true. Only if that's true, Andy. That's the only way you win the award. If that's true, we'll give it to you because I really I had no idea that was the case, obviously, but I think that did make a huge difference, and I think it I'll tell you, rings. You're going into Shang-Chi, you're like, I don't really know about this. I think if you go back to when the movie was announced and then when the trailer were like, it could be good. You throw some rings on a motherfucker. I'm not gonna love it. I'm not gonna love it. More than likely. So
Kind of lame. Like, what has he got? A mood ring now? Lighten up the color of his mood? No.
Sienna got a mood ring the other day from the bowling alley. Like,
oh, really?
Arcades, and I was like, man, to be young and experience a mood ring for the first time. Like to this day, I still am like kind of scared about it. I'm like, don't you bring that sorcery in this house, girl. That's the dark arts right there.
Agatha over there, yeah. All right, so we'll go through the little plot here. Wenwu discovers the mythical 10 rings. This is thousands of years ago, they show, and it grants their user immortality and godly powers. He establishes the 10 rings organization, conquering kingdoms and toppling governments throughout history, and he searches for Tallow. This was a village sent to harbor mythical beasts to expand his power. He travels through this forest, and the forest is moving, and it's a weird, like, CGI thing that looks cool. And the forest looked like the trees almost looked like hair moving. It was crazy. And he gets to the village, but he's stopped by the guardian, Ying Li. The two fall in love, but the villagers reject Wenwu, so Li leaves him. Wenwu abandons the 10 rings. They have 2 children, Shang-Chi, and how do you say this? Zili, Ziliang?
Bob, I can't even say the
It's been a month, bro. It's been a month. Everyone, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's Shang-Chi's sister from the movie. She runs the whole fucking Fight Club. You remember it. When Shang-Chi is 7, Li is murdered by Wenwu's enemies, the Iron Gang. Wenwu once again takes up the 10 rings to massacre the Iron Gang, resumes leadership of his organization, and has Shang-Chi undergo brutal training in martial arts. Ziliang, I think that's how you say it. God damn, probably isn't. Secretly copies his training, and when Shang-Chi is 14, Wenwu sends him to assassinate the Iron Gang's leader. After he fulfills his mission, which he hides from Aquafina for a long time, even after he reveals some stuff, a demoralized Shang-Chi runs away to San Francisco and adopts the name Sean. I thought it was really funny when him and Aquafina are going back and forth when he first reveals himself on the bus after the bus fight scene with Drago Jr. And he's like, yeah, my real name is Shang. And she's like, Shang? Your name's Sean? You went from Sean to Shang and you're wondering how they caught you? You idiot.
Robbie Fox. Oh wait, I have to hide. Bob Fox. That's my name.
Yeah.
But that was like there was a few jokes that like they kind of let it keep going, and there was some that didn't land. This one I think landed. I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
that one.
Shout out to Aquafina. She was good in this. Katie, good comedic relief character. They get attacked on the bus by the Ten Rings. They steal the pendant from Shang-Chi, and they know he knows that like, oh, they want or they had the sister's pendant, I think. And they show it to him and he's like, "Oh my God, my sister's in trouble." He has the postcard from months ago, and he's like, "We gotta go out to her, we gotta help her." He goes to this underground fight club, which she founded, which he didn't realize, and she escaped from Wenwu, founded this fight club, and Wong and Abomination are fighting when they go in. He's immediately recognized Shang-Chi as Busboy. They're like, oh, you're the fucking guy from the bus video. They're like, get in there, get in the ring, fucking sign this consent form. He signs it, doesn't realize what he's signing, but he signs that to fight in the ring. We see that Abomination seems to be throwing that Wong is basically throwing the fight for Abomination. It looks like a fixed fight at the end because he's like, you hit me too stiff at the end there. Next time, pull your punches better. I don't know what's going on here, but maybe Wong is Abomination's like parole officer and he's trying to get him some money.
I like that. I like Wong. Wong's also carrying himself like he helped restore the lives of half the
Oh yeah.
fought off Thanos in the Battle of Endgame. I like my guy. He's a little cocksure of himself. Again, he got the invite to Tony Stark's wedding, which he put that another feather in his cap. Big Wong. This is a Big Wong
Yeah,
podcast.
Wong's
I'm a Big
great.
Wong guy, so I'm happy the way it all went out. I'm happy that was such a sick way to win too, where he used the portal and he punches himself out. That was so dope, so dope.
So he gives him the money. Shang-Chi eventually gets in the ring and he has to fight his sister. He's like, what? I'm not fighting my sister. His sister beats the fuck out of him, to be honest. She's like, I don't care. I'll fight you. The Ten Rings then attack the fight club. They all have to escape together. There's an awesome action sequence on all the scaffolding with the Death Dealer, with Wenwu. Wenwu eventually gets Shang-Chi. He takes him. And this is when we meet Morris and the Mandarin, Trevor Slattery. That was his real name. Oh, and this is where they reveal the magical map to the secret village with the water. It was like the cool water thing where they poured it in. They put the pendants in as I think it was the eyes or the,
Yep.
yeah. And they reveal the whole thing. CGI off the charts in this movie. From this to the dragons at the end to Morris just being like a pillow with legs and wings running around. The mythical beast in this new land. Awesome CGI top to bottom.
Everything about like it was just an engaging movie, and it hits you in so many different ways. It hits you in the beginning with the fight. It hits you with the bus scene. It hits you with a little. There was almost like Madripoor vibes, right? Too, where it's
yeah,
like the dirty underbelly and all that kind of stuff. I loved it. Also, that on the bus. By the way, Bus Boy is like a hilarious name for someone in general. The guy filming on the phone from Spider-Man, which I love how like we.
I saw that later on Reddit. That's crazy.
And that guy would have a following by that point. It's like, oh shit, that guy had that one time he gets subscribers, and then you see all the different emojis. That I am such a sucker for any time you take newer technology and put it in your movie, whether it's a text, it's social media, the emojis and all that kind of stuff. And the better movies do that, the more I appreciate the movie, because that is just the world we live in now, right? And to like be able to put that with the audience. Also on the bus scene, fucking San Francisco. Awesome, like scene. Like I wish there was a couple. Like stop ruining New York. Ruin some other cities that we know.
You gotta watch Ant-Man. Gotta watch Ant-Man.
Well, and I know
San Fran movies.
I know it's a San Fran thing, just only because of obviously Endgame. That's because I know where he shows up. Sienna went fucking crazy when they showed the Golden Gate Bridge because she's obsessed with Full House. Not Full House.
Really?
Full House. She watches the old ones with my wife, so she saw that and her eyes got really wide. But just seeing the hills and stuff like that. The hills in San Francisco, and I've been to San Fran, which they don't like me called San Fran. Don't do that. The residents don't like that, or Frisco. But just seeing like how you can make so many cool things with the hills and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I wish they had a trolley, but maybe they thought it would have been a little too cliche. As
true.
someone, I once took a trolley in San Francisco. My wife and I went out there for a vacation, and the guy was like, "Oh, I got to go get something for my car." Parked the trolley, jam packed with people, and left for like 5 minutes, and then came back, and there was people driving behind him, and no one beeped, no one lost their minds. I'm like, man, we are not in New York anymore.
No.
It was an absolute trip. And there was also in Shang-Chi's room, there was a Warriors poster. Did you see that? The Warriors.
Oh no.
Movie? Yeah, and it was. I think. Have you watched the Warriors? Have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't. I played the video game. There was like a popular
Yep.
video game, and I was into it.
How was the video game? Because I never
Really
played it.
good.
I watched it once years ago. After I don't even know how I like had heard about it. I was like, that seems cool. It is very dated, but I feel like it might hold up pretty well if you're just like, this is New York. It's a crazy world. And I'm sure either it's been remade or someone's going to remake it, and they'll probably fuck it up. But it is a really good movie. Like, that is a suggestion. I mean, we can't really do it a rewatch, but I'd love to see the Bob Fox reaction to the Warriors.
I'll do some 3G. I'll watch
Yes.
Warriors. I'll check it out. Yeah. By the way, as I was on the Wikipedia page, I didn't realize Morris is like not a real creature, but a mythical creature from China, from Chinese mythology, called a Hundun. And I just clicked on the Wikipedia page. It looks exactly like Morris. It's a faceless creature, bunch of legs. It's got wings.
They nailed that more than I'd say. Like, the way I love Morris is the way I thought I was gonna love, what is it, Porgs in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Like, I was in love with Morris. He didn't say anything, didn't really do anything, but
he said things to Trevor. He guided them through the forest. So they want to go to the forest before Wenwu can get there. Wenwu actually has a good villain motivation in this. He believes his wife is being imprisoned in this village. He hears her calling out to him. It's because the rings are corrupting him or whatever. And they wind up escaping Wenwu. Morris guides them through the forest. He's like, turn here, whatever. They get to the mythical land and they see all of these creatures. This is unlike anything we've seen in a Marvel movie. This is when I said you kind of forget you're watching a Marvel movie for a bit, especially when they're just pulling up and kind of taking everything in. And oh my God, there's a white lion thing, unicorn over here, and there's a Morris creatures over here, and there's dragons flying around, and all of this crazy stuff. And they come to warn the villagers here that, hey, Wenwu's coming, and he thinks that you guys have my mother, who is obviously dead, imprisoned here. So we're going to have to teach you guys how to fight, or I guess they kind of know how to fight at that point, but they just gather up all the supplies. It's kind of like in The Mandalorian when you see like the village preparing for a battle.
I had the same exact thoughts with the Mandalorian episode where he was trying to get them skins. That fucking Tallow was beautiful. Was that shot in Newark? Or was it Camden?
I don't know.
Where in Jersey is that shot? That's a
I don't know.
Beautiful place. When I saw that fox, it was like the white fox with like the two tails. Yeah. Final Fantasy vibes immediately. Like, everything there looked like a Final Fantasy enemy. It was fucking like mind-boggling.
I could see that. Yeah, I was thinking Pokemon. I'm not even a big Pokemon guy, but I was like, it kind of reminds me of what I've seen from Pokemon.
That was my other thing. I was like, I feel like that might be a Pokemon character, but I'm too old to even know if that's the case, and my kids are still too young. I need my kids to get into Pokemon soon, just so then and like SpongeBob, so I can start being with the kids again here and getting my dabbling into that side of pop culture for sure. But by the way, Razor Fist, the guy who has the it's not as bad as Taserface. It's bad though. That's a bad name.
Yeah, Razor Fist is
like, come on, man. And this is a guy whose fucking name is the Clem Report. And again, it was something I thought I just did it to create the blog. I never in a million years thought it would actually be a thing that I carried around me. But come on, man. Razor Fist, this is what we're doing. Really? And when they talk about the Dark Gate, Chekhov's Dark Gate. Knew that was coming back.
Yeah, so they tell the story of the Dark Gate and the Dweller of Darkness and his minions, and this is who has been corrupting and influencing Wenwu to believe that Li is still alive, so he'll open the gate and allow him out. But there's this Chinese dragon, the Great Protector. He saw seal the Great Gate long ago, hasn't been seen since, all this stuff. Wenwu finally arrives with the 10 rings. They attack the village. They overpower Shang-Chi. They force him into a nearby lake and then attack the gate with the rings. All the while, Trevor Slattery and Morris playing dead. Great little bit they had when they cut to him there. And They allow some of the Dwellers' minions to escape. Eventually, the villagers join forces with the Ten Rings to fight them with the dragon scales and stuff in their weaponry. You can only fight dragons with dragon. That was kind of a cool thing they had there. And then Shang-Chi is revived by the Great Protector underwater. This is an awesome hero moment. This is kind of the Captain Marvel standing up at the end of her movie. This is Black Widow breaking her nose and being like, I fucking got you with your pheromones, whatever. And the dragon comes up. He rides it like he's fucking Jon Snow at the end of Game of Thrones. And he defeats the Dweller in Darkness, the dragon, with the Great Protector. The fight was awesome. The ending was awesome. I like that this movie didn't, not that Black Widow like dragged on and on after the ending, but Black Widow felt like it had like a couple epilogues almost. And this movie kind of just like ended when it ended. It had the little ending where they go back to the friends and they start telling them, like, the friends that were like, you guys got to get out more. You're so boring. They start telling him the story of the movie. And then Wong comes out and he's like, come on, guys, we got to get you.
I love how Wong isn't even trying to hide with the magic, and I don't know if they ever really did, but it's like, dude, like
the portal just
there's magic.
He's opening it.
My name's fucking Wong.
And then they sing Hotel California in the karaoke bar. I had to mention that. Hysterical ending to the movie. Very funny. Like, oh, one more laugh. Shang-Chi was a good time.
Love that callback. It was awesome. Wong definitely is that booze hound. Like, Wong.
Do you think Wong is like the loud Sean?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
He's got his Dark Nights.
Yeah. Like you're with Wong, you're working with him. Like, oh, that guy's pretty nice. And then you see him out at the karaoke place or in Vegas. You're like, holy shit. And that is Wong is definitely the loud Sean in this scenario. I wanted to ask you, go-to karaoke song. Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
You're going to laugh at this one. Everyone's going to laugh at this one. I've only gone out to karaoke once. I've only done one song. It's Forgot About Dre. I did the Eminem parts.
Yes! Oh, man. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I think Buddha's friend Yofre did the Dre parts, I think.
That's okay.
I don't know. It was a good night. I don't really remember.
That's the best
it was the official Glenny Ball is what it was. It's Glenny's 21st birthday.
Yeah.
And when Glenny Ball got shut down, Asa Akira hit up her friend who ran I think it was a gay karaoke bar in like the Lower East Side or something. And we went there. We had a great night.
Karaoke is like when you go to a bowling alley, you're like, why don't I do this more? Every time I walk into the bowling, through the door of the bowling alley, I'm like, I got to go bowling more. I haven't even bowled at that point, and I just love it. And karaoke is the same thing. My go-to song, and this kind of works always at a party, it always hits, Crying by Aerosmith. Everyone just gets into that song. There's something special.
It's a good one.
And my wife and I did Somebody to Love by Queen. Basically any Queen works, but I try not to go like the Bohemian Rhapsody. It's long or whatever. You got to get something that has a little bit of a change to it. So
Don't Stop Me Now would probably crush.
Don't Stop. Yeah, big time.
That gets the whole party back into the vibe.
I loved that now we have dragons in the MCU. I think that's a legitimate thing. I think they can now be seen down the road. Whatever the end game moment was where Kang is about to fuck shit up and there's portals opening. We're getting dragons flying.
Shang-Chi rides in on the fucking Great Protector. That'd be badass.
That would be sick. I got a little bit of Never-Ending Story vibes, which I don't. Did Bob Fox? Did you ever see that, Bob Fox?
No, but we talked about it before because you and Kevin had made me look up for Eliath. When we saw Eliath in Loki, you guys were like, you got to look up the Never-Ending Story because there was kind of the smoke monster in that. And then I saw the white dragon and all that. Yeah.
We can also say inside that mountain, if our guy Shang-Chi hadn't closed it up, we know who was coming out of that mountain, right?
Who?
The big man, the big M. Was in there. He's cooking shit up. That's why he wasn't in WandaVision.
He's deep in the cave,
mountain with some soul snatching dragons and shit like that. And you said it perfect. I love when they give the villain such a good reasoning to it. And
it wasn't just I'm bad. He was like, my wife is like kidnapped, and everyone around him was like, what are you, crazy? And he's like, no, I hear her. Like, I swear, like he really, really, truly believed in his heart that he was about to save his dead wife.
100. And ever since, it's growth, it's with age. I've learned to experience, to see from someone else's point of view. After that dress where you could see it blue and you could see it gold, I've learned that there are two different points of view in this world. So I've learned to embrace and the one where
The Last Jedi.
What's the Last Jedi? It's like
It's
the
the
movie
dress.
version of the dress. And there's that one where they say the same thing, but it's you can
Oh
hear it
yeah,
based on what you want to
and
hear.
it's like which one you're reading or which one you're thinking of. You
Yep.
hear that. Yeah, I've seen those before.
So
Those always mess me up if I'm on too much 3G, if we're being honest. It's like the thing from Mallrats where he's looking at the picture and he's like, it's a schooner.
Schooner.
In the mid-credit scene, as I mentioned, Wong introduces Shang-Chi and Katie to Bruce Banner and Carol Danvers. They discover that the Ten Rings are emanating a mysterious signal. And then in the post-credit scene, Shang-Chi's sister becomes the new leader of the Ten Rings, and she forms a new army. So I don't know where that's going to come in the future, but keep an eye out.
That blew my fucking mind. That one. And it's like, what was this all for? And I guess fighting
I
evil
guess
dragon.
now it's just the sign of like maybe they're good now. The Ten Rings,
Mm-hmm.
they're on our side. Like when maybe that was for the eventual like Big Kang battle or Doctor Strange battle when you just need like in Endgame there's a bunch of just Doctor Strange's sorcerers. Maybe there's just going to be a bunch of the Ten Rings in the background now.
That could make sense. Okay. Yeah, because that one threw me for a real loop where it's like, thought we were friends this whole time, and now you're taking them. And kind of going back to the beginning of it, I love seeing how history events play out with now
Yeah.
that you know that they have these kind of powers. Like that assassinate, like taking over governments, you see the assassination. And I'm like, I wonder if that's an actual thing. If anyone knows if that's an actual like callback, because I like shooting Archduke Ferdinand. I'll be like, oh, there you go, or assassinating him, I guess, in that scenario. So I would have appreciated something like that. And then the mid-credit scene, I'm calling it now. Put it on the record. Something was sus. Something was sus with Captain Marvel there. There was something
Oh.
up. We have some Skrull world coming, Secret Wars. Whatever the
Yeah.
fuck's going to happen here. There was some sus shit going on. She left. I'm not going to say she's sus. I would never say such a thing. I would never call anyone sus that didn't deserve it. Only the most evil at heart. By the way, Sue, the friend who was with that guy
Yeah.
who was like kind of judging them, sus. One letter away. Take away E, replace the E and Sue with an S. Sus. Right there in front of our faces. She's gonna become a villain too in the future, I bet. But I don't know. I just felt there was something up, and like you said, that beacon. There's some ancient shit. Whenever, like the way that the ancient shit was moving too, it kind
You
of
know what I
reminded
was
me of
thinking, by the
Wanda
way?
when she was fucking moving those pages and shit.
The ancient thing, I know that Kang the Conqueror has like a Rama Tut persona that it was like around during the
Yep.
Egyptian times. Maybe it's a Kang the Conqueror thing, one of his evil personas from back in the day. I don't know. You had the idea to rank Shang-Chi on an interesting scale. Do you want to like
Yeah.
open this up for the listeners?
Yeah, so I guess this should be the one they comment on. You comment on both. Who cares? Well,
Yeah.
everyone putting your reviews right now.
If you've made it to the end, comment again.
Exactly. Comment again. It's all fucking family. Especially if you subscribe to the video, you are now our brother or sister. So this is how we're gonna do the reviews for this movie. Instead of giving you like a 1 through 10 or an A through F or any of the 1 through 100, this is how we're gonna rank this movie, Shang-Chi. If it was a say 90s to 2000s wrestler, how would it be? So if it's fucking awesome, it's incredible, the most entertaining thing, the most electrifying movie in the game today, it would be The Rock. If it was,
I was gonna say, yeah, like Captain America 1 and or I would say Captain America 2 and Iron Man 1 would be like Captain America and The Rock or something. You know, like something big like that.
Or the Brooklyn Brawler is Thor 2.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a segment of our audience that's not going to get this. Again, the basement, we touch a lot of different parts here. This is the wrestling side of
the Waldron brains in the world will love this.
Yes, exactly. The Waldron shout out. He shouted out Barstool and Heels.
Yeah.
So check that out. All right.
I had a wrestler come to mind pretty immediately for this when you texted me. And I don't know if I'm just being influenced by the Dragons and the Yin Yangs initially, but I think it's Rob Van Dam. I think that's a clear-cut, good descriptor for this movie. And if you know me, you know that's saying a lot. I'm a big Rob Van Dam fan. I like Rob Van Dam quite a bit. He won the world title eventually when he made it to WWE, but for the most part, he was like a mid-carder, and you were like, I'd like to see more of this guy. I like this guy. He's a high flyer. He does crazy stuff I've never seen before, and I want to see him intertwined with the rest of them. So I'm going to go with Rob Van Dam.
That's a good one. And I think mine is pretty close to yours. Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
Mysterio Jr., right? It's like
we're
different.
on the same. We're on the same exact wavelength there.
Three Chi. We're in the same three Chi plane of existence right now. Fun, crazy stuff happening. A little bit of mystery. Don't really know all that's going on there, but it's like I like it. I want
Another
more.
guy who never really won the world title until 2006. He didn't
Yeah.
win the world title. So like Shang-Chi, I could see him in the future becoming, one of the faces of the MCU. Right now, he's not there yet. So I think
Oh,
Rey Mysterio Jr., Rob Van Dam, great comparisons here.
we're dealing ECW and WCW respectively
Totally.
of Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
We're not talking, but it's like there is potential there, and I do think he will. Especially, I think I have no idea if this is true. I didn't get to see the goddamn whiteboard that I know exists, Waldron. I feel like Black Panther was going to have a huge role with Bozeman down the road. Obviously, he passed, and I think Shang-Chi might be one of the characters that I don't think you can fill that with one person. Multiple people can fill it, and I think Shang-Chi is going to be part of it. But yeah, I think all the different stuff that made you love Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio was in this movie. So, and that again,
those are two great sign-offs. Yeah, if you haven't seen Shang-Chi yet, you listen to the whole podcast and but we're saying Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio. Go see Shang-Chi if you haven't already, though.
I have a question for you, Bob, here. I have two questions, actually, I came up
with
after this. One, would you rather have the rings or the tallow magic?
The rings. I think the rings.
As I said it out loud, guys, I wrote this in the movie theater.
It was so cool when he did the thing, and then they were all coming off of him with the energy. It was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's the fucking rings. Like his dad,
and even Wenwu was wearing them around just like they were accessories.
Yeah,
with his outfits. He had fire outfits the whole movie.
The second question, I loved Wong being a cage fighter, and kind of like with like the booze hound side of things. It's something you would never see coming. Who at Barstool would be the most unlikely where you're like, yo, that guy or girl is a cage fighter? Because I actually had a coworker back in the day who was I think he worked in corporate. I don't know what he did, accounting or something like that, sales. And we found out that at night he was an air guitar champion. And we
it's like Ron Swanson and his Duke Silverton. He plays saxophone or whatever.
Exactly. So who at Barstool, or if they told you this guy is in fight clubs in China, in their spare time and fighting the Abomination, like who would be the biggest shock?
I got one. Like Mincy. Imagine Mincy was just like Mince, or like even Big Daddy Trent.
I'll tell you,
Trent letting his anger out.
Bob, I'm going to give you the counterpoint. I guarantee Mincy's fought in a fight club before. In New Orleans.
In Louisiana? Yeah.
Like you're born in fight clubs in Louisiana. I'm going to say, I didn't even think of the answer to my own question. I think Glenny Balls. Could you imagine?
I can't. No, that's why it would surprise me the most. It's a good answer.
Glenny Balls, and it's like Glenny, did you fall or something? He's like, oh no, I was drunk one night. It's like, no, you fucking beat the Abomination in a cage fight.
Glenny's choking someone out on the floor. Tap, screaming, tap out.
And he's like, he wipes the blood off his chin. He just throws his fucking Balls beachwear on. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt and
grabs another high noon. People are buying him high noons at the bar. They're like, great fight, champ.
They just call him champ instead of Glenny. Oh,
exactly. Oh, man, that's a what if that I'd like to see. We'll get back to the what if scenarios with Clem next week. What if episode 8? Take a little break on them this week. Think about them, everyone. Leave them in the comments if you want. Tweet us what if scenarios for next week. Barstool what if scenarios. We'll be back for episode 8 of What If, the penultimate episode.
Unless there's a secret episode 10.
And now a special interview with one of the cast members from Shang-Chi himself, Dallas Liu. Cutting off the pod one more time to tell everyone about America's #1 meal kit. It's HelloFresh. I use this stuff each and every week. I love HelloFresh. I actually used my own promo code to get it, and it's the easiest stuff to cook. You get these meals. They're pre-measured ingredients. Healthy stuff you can get not so healthy stuff. It's not unhealthy for you, but you could stick to a nice diet, or you could stick to some restaurant style meals that would be from any other restaurant. And they're restaurant style quality as well, for a fraction of the cost as well. It's 30% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store that's getting HelloFresh, and about 80% cheaper than getting takeout every night. HelloFresh offers 50 menu and market items to choose from every week, from vegetarian meals and calorie smart choices to extra special gourmet options. So there's something for everyone to enjoy. Truly a meal for everyone. I've got a weird stomach and I don't have any issues picking meals every week. Go to HelloFresh.com/14Robbie, ROBBIE.com, and use that promo code 14Robbie for up to 14 free meals, including free shipping on your first order. HelloFresh, it's America's #1 meal kit for a reason. Let's get back into the show. Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be here with Dallas Liu. He is in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I actually got to see the movie last night at a press screening. We're recording this a little early, but I loved it. I thought it was awesome. So, first off, just congratulations for being a part of such a great movie, such an awesome cast and everything. How was the premiere? Was it surreal to be a part of that?
Yes, 100%. That was my first red carpet walk, actually. So
Wow.
being there in the moment, I'm from LA, so right on Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, it was like a dream come true. And being surrounded by guys like Simu, Benedict Wong, and having Aquafina there is just it was absolutely nuts.
It's a crazy cast. It's so likable, I thought. Like the Aquafina and Simu's like back and forth the entire movie. I was like, these are just, I want to see these guys interact with the rest of the MCU. I want to see more of this world. It was awesome. How much of the cast had you met? Were there like COVID protocols in place? I don't know when the movie was filmed, but was like this the first big meeting of the cast together?
Yeah, I think this was like one of the first times that everyone was there all together. At least for me. I mean, I was there on like the first couple days of shooting, so I was only really met with my grandma, my mom in the movie, and Simo and Aquafina.
Yeah.
I believe COVID had like just started and it was starting to get bad in Australia, and I had actually left as soon as like they started having some real protocols. And then, as you know, like here in LA, it hit a little bit after.
Yeah.
So I was doing another show when I had actually like gotten kicked off set because of they were still trying to figure everything out and how to approach it. But yeah, I had just dodged it. I mean, COVID was like making the news and things like that, but I don't think anyone was expecting for it to
Oh my God.
have.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. What was it like getting the call back and being like, hey, yeah, you're going to be in Shang-Chi, like you're in the next Marvel movie? Was that like, do you remember the moment like it was yesterday?
I mean, it was totally unexpected. I received a call from my manager, and she just made it sound so nonchalant. She was like, "Oh, hey, like I got some news for you." I was like, "Oh man," because I had been thinking about it for the entire week, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you booked it," and I was like, "Shut up, no way." So yeah, I was super stoked. I was super stoked. I mean, that was like one of the major steps, like moving forward in my career, just
Yeah.
because I had done, you know, TV, comedy, and children's stuff. So this being my first role in a film this large was definitely memorable.
Did you like getting to watch yourself on screen at the premiere, or are you like, no, I don't like to watch myself?
Personally, I'm not one to like really watch myself like that, but at the when we were watching the movie, I honestly wasn't too bothered by it. I was really happy with the people that were watching and having everyone there, and the environment was just great. So I didn't really care all too much. I was just psyched to be there.
Good, because sometimes you hear actors say like, yeah, I couldn't even look at the screen during the premiere because like I was just like, oh no, I can't watch my own performance. Like sometimes I'm like that. I edit my own podcast. I hate listening to my own voice. I'm just like, it's my own voice.
Yeah, I
And
get. I
yeah.
feel that. I feel that. I mean, the one thing that like kind of bothered me was my haircut in the show. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
the film. It was just the complete opposite of me. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe like people are gonna watch this, and that's gonna be like the image that they have of me.
So I did some research on you before this interview, and I found your martial arts background really fascinating. I watched some videos, and I just want to confirm that these were you, the weapons competition videos. Are these you?
Yep. All the swords videos,
Yeah,
all the stuff videos. That was all me from my early days in competing in national karate.
absolutely crazy. Some of these videos. How old were you when you got started in this? Because some of these videos, you look so young, but you also look like you could take the heads off of everyone in the room if you wanted to.
I had started karate when I was 5 and a half,
Wow.
actually.
And when
And
did you
then
get to the level where you were competing on these like national level?
mm, probably when I was about around 10 or 11 is when I really started taking it serious with the acrobatic flips and the tosses and the that high level competing for like performance karate.
And when you were doing that, did you have dreams or aspirations of being an actor, or were you like, no, this is what I am, a martial artist. I'd like to do that for the rest of my life.
It didn't really hit me probably until like my last year of competing. So I want to say around 2013, maybe a little bit of 2012. I guess I was just kind of growing tired of karate just because I'd been doing it for so long, like
Mhm.
competing like that. And I was just kind of exploring different routes. And then I came across Leo Howard, who he was in Disney XD's Kicking It. And we had trained at the same dojo a couple times and worked out with each other and things like that. So seeing him on the big screen, like in my own house, was something that like I was like, I mean, I know it's like a risky route, career path in life. So I mean, we'll see how it turns out. And here I am. I stuck with it, and obviously, I have a passion for it. But to actually follow through with it and give it everything you've got, it's scary.
Yeah. How does the pressure of like an audition compare to the pressure of a competition in martial arts?
That's a good question. Honestly, I would say they're about the same, just because uh, I mean, the thing with karate is you have the same routine probably for the entire year, maybe some different flips at specific tournaments. But in an audition, every time you're going in, you have different script, different character, and you're meeting with different people. So they're different, but I felt like the pressure was the same in a sense. Just it's like when you're going out for an audition, it's like a competition.
Yeah.
You see the other actors outside, you see the sign-in sheet, and you're like, all right, it's go time.
Is it nerve-wracking going in for an audition still for you?
I mean, I haven't gone in for an audition in so
Oh yeah,
long
I
just
guess
because,
COVID has shut that stuff down. Yeah.
yeah, they've been having us do self-tapes in our own home. So
What's
I
that
guess the
like?
pain, a pain. You got lighting, you got to find someone to read with you. And my parents and like my younger brother, they're just like, dude, go ask a friend. I was like, all right. So I end up like driving to LA, meet with a friend, get the camera set up, the lights, and then yeah, I mean, it's nice in the sense that you get as many takes as you want to get that perfect tape to send in, but it's also like you don't get that in the room experience with the casting directors and the producers and things like that.
So are you looking forward to going back to that audition process, like the one that you were formerly going through?
um I could really care less either way. uh I mean, whichever way they have us audition moving forward, I'm gonna give it my all regardless of how comfortable I am with it, just because, this is something that I want to do with my future. And I feel like with these sort of situations, you just kind of have to adapt.
Yeah, and you were just cast in another huge role. I mean, this one, Zuko in the Last Airbender series. This is like every time you if you go on online right now, I'm sure all of your mentions are just like Airbender fans being like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." They're trying to
Yeah,
find the martial arts videos. If you look in the comments, they're all like, "Oh my god, look, he's got the voice. He's got the perfect voice." Were you a fan of the show growing up?
yeah, 100%. I mean, I was always a fan of firebending, so Zuko was like my guy
Wow.
already.
How
And
perfect.
yeah, when I found out I booked it, it was like, oh my, it feels, I felt like I just booked like a Marvel superhero role.
Yeah, well, it's
Or-
different, right? Like the Shang-Chi role is obviously awesome, but it's not like Zuko. Zuko is like you're going to be a focal part of this series, obviously. So it's got to feel crazy. It's got to feel surreal.
Absolutely. And with like the huge Avatar fandom already,
Yeah.
like,
Do you feel like there's been like a resurgence almost of Avatar fans in the past few years, at least on social media? I've seen so many more like memes and people sharing their favorite clips and actors that were, you didn't realize did voices in the show and stuff. Do you feel the same way?
yeah, I mean, TikTok has also grown within the past couple of years. And I feel like that has to do a lot with, I mean, people being at home on their phones
Yeah.
constantly. So everything's just kind of making a comeback.
Yeah, and Avatar is one of those. I'm excited to see this show. I know you can't talk too much about it, so I'm not going to try to get you for the details because then the studio will come knocking on both of our doors. But I'm excited to see this show, and I'm excited to see like the rest of the build up to it and all the pictures that are going to come out and stuff like that, the trailer. So it's going to be very cool. You're also in college still, right?
I just finished my summer classes. I won't be enrolling
Oh, good for
for the
you.
fall. I'll be busy.
Dude, I dropped out to do this job, so I'm with you.
Hey, there we go. And yeah, I mean, I just did those 2 years of general education classes at a community college, and then my plan was to transfer up, but then this opportunity came along.
I mean, life happened. Listen, I don't think you need it. I think you know that based on your decision making in life. But like, yeah, you're in Shang-Chi and Avatar and stuff. You don't need college. I was gonna say, how do you balance that? But it's good that you don't have to anymore. Fuck that.
Yeah. School is a great. I mean, I feel like later on I'm gonna have to get back into it just because it's a very solid plan B for life.
True.
Just because this industry is super unpredictable and you never know what could happen. So
That's
uh,
very responsible. If there's any kids listening, you should not listen to my advice. You should listen to theirs. For any martial artists listening, I wanted to ask you this. Being a martial artist that got into acting yourself, I know that there are sometimes like scarce career options for people that spend their whole life training in martial arts. You could become a coach, or you could become a trainer, or you could compete at the high level, but it's hard to make a lot of money doing that. So, what advice would you give to martial artists looking to make the transition into something like entertainment?
I think one of the best routes to take if you're strictly martial arts is stunts.
Yeah.
Stunts. Martial arts comes in handy so much just because I mean they're constantly going to be making action movies just because with the technology that we have now and the viewers that like have that interest, it's such a popular genre right now, and the camera work that goes into it, it's just absolutely nuts. So I would say like stunts is a great option, and then who knows, maybe they'll slip you a line or something like that. I mean, my route into the industry was just my manager finding me on YouTube and was like, "Hey, do you want to meet?" And I was like, "I mean, sure, we'll
So
see what happens."
maybe that's advice. Maybe put your stuff on YouTube, put your stuff on the internet, get it out there.
Yeah, I mean, the more people that get to see your face and what you're capable of, the better, obviously.
That's awesome. Now, do you have a dream role in your acting career? You like one day I would like to, and it doesn't need to be a specific character. It could be like one day I would
Mhm.
like to be in a western or something like that, or a sci-fi movie. Do you
Mhm.
have something out there where you're like, man, I would love to tackle that? Because you've done comedy now, you've done some serious stuff, you've done, a couple things now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already checked one off with the Zuko, um, but um, I'd say the next one up for me is probably a horror.
Yeah.
I have no idea what goes into like the process of for like an actor at least because I don't really get too many of those auditions, and I think it would be so fun,
So you're
so
like
fun.
really into trying new things, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to be as well-rounded as possible with my acting abilities, and I've been working on my craft for uh, quite a bit. So I feel like horror is something that doesn't come my way too often, and I definitely just try to stick my foot in there, see what it's
Yeah.
like.
Do you have any directors or filmmakers that you're like, oh my God, it would be so amazing to work with them just because I'm such a big fan?
Uh, Taika Waititi for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of my favorites in the world right now. Like, who doesn't love that guy?
Right? And like he can act too, and he's
Yeah.
hilarious. I mean, dude's dude's so awesome. But yeah, I think in the future I'd really love to work with him, and hopefully, work on a project together with like some also talented actors and things like that.
Yeah. I hope you get that opportunity. That would be awesome. And the final question for you,
Mhm.
before you were cast in Shang-Chi, who was your favorite Marvel superhero?
Before Shang-Chi, um,
Because I assume it's probably changed now. It's got to be Shang-Chi, right?
yeah,
It's
see those rings? That was pretty nasty.
awesome.
Um, I really enjoyed Quicksilver actually.
Oh wow, it's a good
Yeah,
pull. You didn't go with one of the like obvious Iron Man, Captain America. You went for a deep cut, and I respect it.
yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of speedsters in general, so
Yeah.
seeing him on screen with Scarlet Witch was super cool.
I like that answer. That's a good one. Dallas, thank you very much for joining. Congratulations on all the success. I'm looking forward to Avatar. I love Shang-Chi. If you haven't seen it in theaters yet, people, go see it in theaters. This thing is awesome. The music in it is great. The special effects are crazy on the big screen. So I could not recommend it more. 2 thumbs up.
Yes, go do that. I don't know how long it is in theaters for, but watch it while you can.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, man.